that you give a fuck.
All right, everybody. What's happening? We're here in Malta, hanging out. We got a bunch of YouTubers together, and we're shooting content for you guys who, you know, haven't made it yet, so you don't get to live in the VIP lifestyle. So yeah, I have no idea what we're going to talk about, but since everyone here is a YouTuber, we'll figure it out. Bitcoin. All right, what's going on good with Bitcoin? Anything good?
Yeah, it's actually really bullish right now, Bitcoin, I think.
How come?
We just passed above the 200-day moving average, which is a really nice sign, and we've closed above it for many days now.
Okay.
So I think it's actually a really good sign. What do you think?
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. Like the fact that the halving is coming up in like 190 days, that makes me bullish because
I thought it was farther out. I thought it was like a
It's
year.
in May
2020.
I think it's pretty much exactly 190 days.
Like 6 months.
Really?
Yeah,
Well,
so it's getting
We are counting days. Before we go to sleep.
I was on stage with like a year and a half from now. Google it, but I guess.
Oh, shit.
I told him to Google
that's
it.
way
I told
off.
him to Google it. Like, Google it.
That's way up.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, so because the stock to flow ratio is just massively important for any asset, and especially a monetary asset, something that is going to serve as money, because the whole problem with the fiat currency system is that the flow or the newly created supply can be manipulated and increased by a central authority. And yeah, so the fact that the Bitcoin stock to flow ratio is going to the halving is coming up and the flow is going to be halved, that's just so bullish, and I think that people will increasingly start talking about it, and institutions will realize it, and the fact that the inflation will be zero makes Bitcoin the most scarce asset in the world, because it's only in a digital world.
What is this inflation zero? What are you talking about?
Yeah,
in
because
the year 2140, there will be basically no block rewards anymore. So that would be and 0% inflation.
I don't think my audience is looking at 120-year out time horizon.
yeah, but still,
This is maximum human lifespan.
It will be below 2%. It will be below 2% in 6 months.
You know what?
And that's already great.
It doesn't really matter if it's zero. When it's zero, the fact is that it's predictable. It's extremely predictable. If you compare to gold, which also has a huge market cap, it is very scarce. The flow is very low compared to the already existing supply, but still there is some uncertainty in the inflation, because if the price of gold massively goes up, more people will start mining and the inflation might actually increase, and that can correct the price. But that's not possible in Bitcoin, because the difficulty adjustments. So it's very predictable, and the predictability in the supply of Bitcoin, I think that is the important part.
Plus the scarcity.
Yeah, but that's basic.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
it.
I don't know. My opinion is different on this. I think the stock to flow doesn't really matter much. You can look at the stock to flow on 8-track tapes. Look how limited the supply of 8-track tapes is now. The demand side is what pushes all this shit. And you know, if stock to flow was so important, you wouldn't get fucking 85% drops. So Bitcoin now has the lowest inflation rate it ever has, as it always does, because you keep getting closer to these halving events, right? And the price took a shit 85% still. I think it's supply side more than anything.
You have to zoom out a little bit more to get what we are saying.
No,
I mean, it's always, of course, fluctuating, because the people are uncertain, immature, and driven by the media. They are buying because of fear and greed. But in the long run, the price always getting like, its co-integration gets like a magnet pull towards the long-term movement.
Maybe. So I'll give you the black swan events here, right? Maybe Libra becomes very popular, and then why would you? So if you buy crypto for actually using it, which a lot of people think that's the reason people buy, I think 5% of the reason people buy is for using it. I think 95% is for speculation.
Maybe even more.
Yeah,
maybe
99%.
No, maybe even more.
So if it's true that 95%, so for those people that are the 5%, there are, you know, the Chinese people prefer Tether to Bitcoin. That's why Tether does more trading volume than Bitcoin does. And I wouldn't have been able to predict that. There was no way in hell I would have predicted that a stable coin tied to something we make fun of, the dollar, that they just keep minting all the time. I never thought that would get adoption, let alone be the most traded cryptocurrency. And so it's the possibility that stable coins and Libra and other Libra-like things do actually take over the use case of use as a digital currency, which would leave us just with mad gains, which is okay with me. If people want to use this as a speculative tool, I'm okay with that. But I mean, so if you start looking hundreds of years out, and stock to flow and stuff, it's cool, but I think the supply, the demand side is really, really the important part. Like you couldn't predict President Xi was going to say, yo, we're going all in on blockchain.
It is both. It is both, I think. I mean, it is supply and demand. It's basic economics. I studied economics. I learned nothing in the studies, but afterwards I continued learning. And of course, it's the supply and the demand. But the demand is somehow exogenous, and the supply is what can be set in stone previously, and that's the highest strength of Bitcoin. So if you wouldn't have the arguments of the supply, like the most important part would be missing. And then we can, in the second step, argue about the demand.
I still have evidence that I think supports the idea that the inflation rate isn't as important as people think. One, if the inflation rate was that important, we shouldn't have been able to get higher exponential returns earlier when the inflation rate was higher. So Bitcoin started out with a 4 times higher inflation rate than what it is now. It cut in half twice. When I first started mining it, there was 50 block reward. Now there's a 12.5 block reward. And apparently 190 days going to a 6.25. And we had faster, larger gains then with higher inflation rate.
Right, but the stock to flow ratio was lower. And that's the point. But you're right, the inflation rate and the stock to flow ratio is going like this.
And then every other shitcoin that's shown insanely mad gains also has insanely mad inflation.
And but the thing is that, the demand is of course basically the only thing that really matters.
So demand is king and supply is prince. They both matter.
Obviously, the demand is the important part. Bitcoin is a consequence of the free market, and the value will be decided by the free market because you cannot manipulate the supply. So, but I do believe that, of course, it's not only the inflation rate that is important. It's only one factor among many of all the factors that make Bitcoin valuable, like uncensorability, transfer, like the fact that you can transfer it anywhere, anytime, at low fees. Like there are so many properties that collectively make up the value, which drives the demand. And
I think price performance drives demand mostly.
Of course,
because it's mostly speculative. So I think having a good chart tends to make you continue to have a good chart more, and that's where you get exponential. Yeah. And then some people decide to cash out too hard. There's not enough buyers to eat it, and then
sure. But if the demand is unhealthy, there will be an actual correction that doesn't get back up again, like the .com.
Yeah, we keep getting back up. Yeah. The .coms actually did get back up. All those terrible businesses, they did actually work. They were just too early. Like delivering pet food, that shit actually works. Yeah. That's a multi-billion-dollar business in Germany.
Sure.
Like I think that the richest person in Germany right now is actually a pet food deliverer.
But not pet.com.
No, that's the American. There's a German one that the richest guy in Germany does pet food delivery.
Oh, really?
Wow.
Yeah. So I read.
I should know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should Google it after. But yeah, any of the, like even Amazon went down 90%. So I'm always having to explain to people the difference between a Ponzi and a pyramid and a bubble, and they're different. Amazon went down 90%. Now it's 50% of commerce in the United States on the internet. 50%. Okay, well it obviously wasn't a fucking Ponzi, and it obviously wasn't a pyramid. They only have one level of referral, so it was a bubble. But that doesn't mean that it was a fucking scam. It just happened to be early, right?
Let's take the tulip might be a better example because that was actually a very unhealthy and unreasonable demand, and of course that never catched up again because the demand was driven by unrational ideas. But Bitcoin actually has the fundamentals, and that's why all these bubbles keep going bigger and bigger.
Yeah, I think it's funny. So I just developed a coin that I think is better than Bitcoin, and for reasons. It's not just because I made it. Like I did a bunch. I've been in Bitcoin so long. I saw what was wrong with it, and I could fix a lot of those things. I always have to address this issue of it's a Ponzi, and you're like, no, it's not. Ponzi's fail when they can't meet promises they made you. They lie to you. They commit fraud. If this thing says it's going to pay you interest, just like Bitcoin, Bitcoin says it's going to pay miners interest. You're going to buy hardware. It's going to cost you money, and if you run it, you're going to get interest on it because we're going to keep feeding you coins. We're going to inflate the currency to pay you a reward. So Bitcoin actually is interest bearing if you invest in mining hardware. So proof of stake coins are interest bearing, if you stake your coins, right? And then you can't have it fail. It invented the thing it owes you. It can always pay you, right? I can't program people to not be stupid and overvalue a thing and undervalue a thing. You can't program it. You can't program the human psychology. I can influence it with an affiliate program. I can influence it with lockups. I can influence it with adoption bonuses, but I can't program it. I can program the supply side. So I can program, Bitcoin used a halvening. I use a different system where we just pay stakers instead of miners, so we don't have that externality of constantly selling the coin.
But are you
for
saying
electricity.
that Bitcoin should have had an interest? Because I mean
That would be fabulous.
Yeah, but it's not necessary. Just look at gold, for example. It doesn't.
Sure, no, it's not necessary. No.
It's not like natively. It doesn't natively have an interest. But of course, there will always develop.
Well, Bitcoin does have a native interest if you invest in mining hardware instead of the coin.
Okay, sure.
Which is also another externality. So money that could have went into pumping the price harder on exchange instead goes into creating silicon.
Which
chips.
increases the security, the hash rate of Bitcoin,
A certain form
and
of
thus
security.
the intrinsic value, if you want
A
to say
certain
like
form of security, which is not where the problems come from. The problems in Bitcoin come from software failures. We've had an inflation bug where we had to roll back the chain. Back in 2010, they printed 6 billion Bitcoin. There's not supposed to be 6 billion of them. They had to roll the chain back. We had another inflation bug that was caught by a Bitcoin Cash developer that he could have just used instead of declaring it. I mean, nice of that guy, right? If you found that bug and can print as many free Bitcoin as you want, would you let everyone know? Would you print them? I don't know. A lot of infinite free Bitcoin, that sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
As long as you don't overdo it and cause a fork, right?
Yeah.
I tell you a trick, if you ever do find one of those bugs, put the miners in on it. Pay everyone a little bit so that they don't want to roll the chain back on you. So you fuck everyone a little bit and they can't get consensus to roll the chain back. If you fuck them too hard, they'll just split the chain and then you can't keep your money. Ask the DAO hacker. He could have stole a little bit less and kept his money, but he stole too much, so they rolled the chain back on his ass. So the only interesting point that I was trying to make is you can't change Bitcoin to stop bubbles from happening. The bubbles are a human problem, not a software problem. I love the bubble shit. I don't like the bubble pop, right? So if you get into a Ponzi with a referral program and a pyramid built into it and all this other bullshit, the price goes up really high. Everyone loves that. They don't like it when the price goes down.
Yeah.
So if you introduce time locking, then there's no supply. You can't sell the fucking price down. Now maybe in the future, when those locks start expiring, then the price can come down. But if everyone already knows on the chart when those times are, an efficient market should know that those coins are coming out at that time and reduce the volatility. So the currency I created is the first crypto in the world to have a chart of future market supply, not total supply. You can't trade total supply. President Z says something good, price goes up 40%. Plus Token starts selling the 1% of Bitcoin that it owns, the 200,000 coins that it owns. You can't do anything about that, right? Like, you don't know if Satoshi's gonna sell, you don't know if Plus Token's gonna sell, and if they told you, you wouldn't believe them, because it's not programmatic. They could be lying to you, right? So I'm pretty fucking excited about my project. I don't know if you guys know about it.
No.
You talked 2 times about it on my channel. So.
I heard.
Ask me
HEX.
good shit about it, bro. Like, I'm really proud of it. I put a lot of work into it. A lot.
Nice.
So what are the problems in Bitcoin? Miners keep dumping the price for security that's not actually security. We need audits. The fucking software needs audited. The spaghetti code needs to be isolated so that you can improve certain parts without introducing bugs. That last inflation bug came from improving the network stack to make it more efficient. It introduced a consensus bug because the code's all spaghetti
That's
together.
not the problem with miners selling Bitcoin on exchanges. They have to pay the electricity bill. And it's 1,800 per day. Like,
Well,
no, how many is it? Like
I can-
1,800 per day?
I can get the same or better security guarantees from Ethereum with a better miner ecosystem, with more distribution, with normal humans that can mine on their computers instead of like only 4 or 5 companies actually controlling everything. And I could get that for pennies on Ethereum. So why would I overpay to get a lower level of security in Bitcoin by paying block rewards that are unnecessary?
Well, Bitcoin security is much higher than from Ethereum.
It's actually not.
How so?
Ethereum's never had an inflation bug. Bitcoin's had 2. That's real, actual,
Ethereum
you're
has a
fucked.
DAO, and also
But that's not Ethereum. That's people using Ethereum. It's different. Ethereum is a Turing-complete system that lets you hang yourself if you choose to. But the Ethereum network itself didn't fuck up at all.
If we compare
Ethereum
the hash
worked fine.
rates, though, I mean, looking at the hash rate, the Bitcoin hash rate compared to the altcoins, it's just, it gets
Don't fall for that
ridiculous.
trick. That is misleading, but people don't realize it's misleading. Okay, let's say that I offer you to 10x the hash rate, but I own it. It's my hash rate. Is that better? No, it's worse, because I own it. It's just a centralized system. The actual hash rate is fucking irrelevant. What's relevant
Assuming
is
that there are
the distribution of decision makers that control the hash rate. So
Of course.
we don't need more hash rate, we need different hash rates where they can't collude to fuck the network up.
Yeah, of course.
So Bcash was invented to kill Bitcoin, literally. That was its intention. With the emergency difficult reset, the EDC, or EDR or whatever, they designed to steal the miners away from Bitcoin. They got half the miners. And so Bitmain, all in, BCH, took half the miners and was happy to call Bitcoin Cash the real Bitcoin. And they got wrecked on that. But they almost made it. They almost fucking did it. So how did hash rate protect us from those guys? It didn't. It did the opposite. All the money those guys got from selling you hash rate to secure the network, they used to ass fuck the network and create a fake copy of it and try and destroy the real network. So I am like, you want to talk to some miners on Twitter? It fucked them over, but they were
50
close.
projects who tried it, and no one. I don't think that Bitcoin Cash was close. Actually,
They had half the hash rate. They had half. They had exactly the
they had
same
half
exact
the
hash
price
as
for 2
Bitcoin.
minutes on Bittrex.
No, but they had the same exact hash rate as Bitcoin for a day or two. The same exact hash rate as Bitcoin. And they did that by reducing Bitcoin's security model.
But I mean also,
Are you sure?
I mean Roger and Jihan Wu, they immediately took over so much hash rate over to Bitcoin Cash.
Right.
I mean that was the initial shock.
Right,
And
so
that's why some people, but in the long run, it leveled out so easily and fast.
Yes, they got wrecked on that, but we wouldn't have ever had to have that problem if we didn't over-centralize and give people money that they didn't need. The network, so, okay, who's losing money using Dogecoin? Nobody. Works fine. Okay, how's their hash rate? Fuck all. Like, it's fake security, it's security theater. It's not the hash rate that's protecting you. It's the honesty of the participants and the participants being different from each other. I mean, I would much rather do transactions on Ethereum that has a more honest, their mining ecosystem so much better that they're trying to get rid of ASICs entirely. ASICs are fucking bad. They're centralization. It's just like Blockstream. Blockstream now, they develop the software and you can get cloud mining from them. And you can use their liquid product and license it to do shit on the sidechain. Those compete with Bitcoin. That's a feature they could have built into Bitcoin, but instead, they're profitizing from taking away the reserve currency status for Bitcoin with a sidechain. And then they defend the people that use it publicly. And I'm not trying to make enemies with people I want to get fucking listed at, but like, you know, there's a lot of collusion and weird shit going on that people aren't calling out. Like, it's not good that developers are some
the
cloud mining.
sidechain thing. Aren't the sidechains amazing for Bitcoin because they're
No.
having additional use cases, and you actually need Bitcoin, for example, for rootstock just to dock one-on-one on the RBTC. I mean, it delivers buying incentives onto the main Bitcoin blockchain because you have smart contracts. You
don't have any smart contracts with Bitcoin.
No, you have with rootstock.
No one uses it, and they have a
No,
20%.
not yet.
And they have a 20% fucking miners. They have a 20% tax on every block, just like Zcash did.
Yeah, that's
So,
horrible. That's a developer's
yeah.
fee. That's Zcash is horrible when it comes to that. But I mean, you could still, just like in 5, 10, 15 years, heck, 20 years, you could just do another project which is truly decentralized and provides smart contracts on top of the Bitcoin blockchain.
So let's try this. Let's try this path. So I would rather pay stakers to hold the price up by not dumping it, and pay them the inflation, and then just for the transactions, which should be fewer because it's staking based, then we pay the miners to do the proof of work shit. Then we have minimal pollution, still totally secure, right? Most Tether transactions occur on ERC20, and they're the majority of trading volume. Tether is the majority of trading volume, more than any other cryptocurrency. TRX launched on ERC20, EOS launched on ERC20, BNB launched on ERC20. These are multiple billion-dollar projects that have all had wonderful, fabulous problems as ERC20 tokens and never had any fucking bad things to say. So I launched my shit on the same thing. And if they provide trust instance for a lower fee with lower inflation, like when my token's done inflating to pay all these bonuses in the first year, for like if you're a referrer, you get 20%. If someone referred you, you get 10%. If you get in early, you get 20%. If you're a whale, you get fucked by 75% off the bat. If your balance is over 10,000, 75% reduction on your shit. If you're Mt. Gox, you can't even claim. It's removed from the UTX head. Because I'm trying to target everyone that will buy more, right? I don't want you to give you free tokens and then you sell them. I want to give you free tokens and then you buy more, right? That's how coupons work. That's how freemium works. That's how multi-billion-dollar games like Clash of Clans work. They give you a free game and then you buy, credits or whatever. Or you buy Team Fortress 2 and you buy hats. So I'm using all the tactics Ponzi use with super high inflation rewards on interest, right? Like you probably 5x your money as a staker.
Richard, I have to say, your incentive structure is perfect, actually.
Thank
So I checked it out.
Fuck yeah.
The incentive structure is perfect.
Thank you.
I want to give one argument for
Yeah,
Bitcoin as well,
sure.
still, because the incentive structure, it holds the price up, especially in the short and mid run.
Mhm.
But in the long run,
You guys have the same
Bitcoin
shoes.
doesn't really need it. Oh yeah.
You
I
guys
always
have the
say
same shoes.
Yeah.
What the
Yeah.
fuck?
In the-
What the fuck is going on here?
But it's all in different colors.
Yeah. We have the same watches.
It's
as
not
well.
good though.
We have to send out a signal.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
Great minds think
The
alike.
YouTube game.
But it
So,
gets scary. It gets scary sometimes.
What I wanted to say though is Bitcoin doesn't need that for the long run. In the long
Yeah.
run, the network effects and the intrinsic value provides the price. And even though we are fluctuating like fuck and we don't have the amazing incentive structures you have, the long run price will just be a linear line. You could draw a linear regression line to the Bitcoin price. And then if you are not like speculative AF and try to like outperform the market, you would just gain the long term.
Dude, I still have a huge bag of Bitcoin, and it's.
I hope so.
I have
Yeah.
a huge bag of Bitcoin and a bag of fucking Prime Coin that I'm not so happy about, and that's it. That's like all the crypto I got, and I guess
Yeah,
I don't
you
have a
would
lot of
do well.
HEX.
Yeah, Bitcoin's
You would do
fine.
very well, probably.
So what else can we
When
do to
did
fix
you
Bitcoin?
when did you start accumulating
Years ago.
Bitcoin?
Oh, 2011. I used to
Wow.
mine in the first
Nice.
quarter.
Wow.
So I used to mine full
You
blocks
got
on my
150
own.
block.
Several.
No, how many was it? I
I
forgot.
don't want to tell you, but a lot more than one.
Yeah, I think you said in one video.
Maybe.
Yeah. Okay, I won't bring it
Yeah.
up.
It ain't.
It was a
It's
few,
not
yeah.
as many as I wish, but it doesn't matter. I
And
bought
without-
heavy with
No,
fiat.
it's cool. And you also
Yeah,
bought.
I
Bitcoin
bought a
addition.
lot more than I
Yeah.
mined.
But without saying any numbers, just like how many bitcoins have you lost since?
I mean, I paid 600 just for mining equipment I never used
Yeah.
back in 2011.
600 Bitcoin.
Yeah, 650 or something like that.
Yeah.
I just bought a bunch
Was
of
it
GPUs.
profitable?
Back when you could buy GPUs, they were like sold out. No, I did never even turn them on. Like I just lost those.
Mm.
Just
That's
nothing. What else? Yeah, I don't have any really exciting stories about like losing in a boat accident yet.
Yeah, but you must have had tens of, at least many thousands of Bitcoin back then.
Thousands, yeah, but
Yeah.
not many more than thousands. So it's like, from my perspective, I wasn't happy that as a Bitcoin holder, guys that bought Ethereum made more in less time. I wasn't happy about that. I wasn't happy that, still to this day, Ponzi schemes are stealing millions of people's money, and they're the actual reason for the bottom. The reason we have 3,000 bottom is because the Plus token bought it. They put like $8 billion of cash in. They kept 200,000 coins for themselves, and then the 14K top was when they went to jail.
That was horrible, but
They were the bottom and the top.
but for the mechanics of the market, it was perfect because
Right.
we washed out so many weekends.
Sure.
It's horrible for so many people.
Yeah.
It's actually sad. But for the mechanics of the market, it was very nice, and
Yeah.
it gives us fuel for the upside once
Sure.
the bull market comes.
Yeah, I'm with China doing what they're doing. I'm very bullish. Here's the problem with China: they do that ban and unban shit constantly. They will say
Yeah, the South Park
100%. They 100% will say something bad about Bitcoin again.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah, but it's so funny, like bam, 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 bam. Like we banned Bitcoin the 100th time. You know this
Dude,
South
yeah.
Park meme?
I
It's
even
amazing.
made my own GIF with a roller coaster. With
Yeah, I have to check it out.
Fucking so what else can we fix about Bitcoin? We have a unit bias problem. Nobody wants to pay 0.054276 money
That's
for
not a
some
problem. We
shit.
have the Satoshis.
Uh,
I think that's
I
literally.
I mean, you
hear
could
you, but
just-
people won't change. They just won't change.
No, I
What do you
mean,
mean?
you
That's
just need
exact- I
the
think it's
main,
very-
like coinmarketcap.com and stuff to change to
it's
mini
natural.
Bitcoin.
It's going
Yeah,
to
but
be
what I-
natural because everyone is used to $3, $1,000.
Once-
We're like 10
But
Satoshis or...
Yeah,
Yeah,
once
But,
the
okay,
price
so
is
what
high
year do
enough,
you
they
think
will
that's going to
change.
fix?
I don't know.
5
It depends on the
years?
price.
Maybe
Depends
10
on the
years. It
price.
doesn't matter when because Bitcoin is not a medium of exchange today. It will take a long time
to
because
store of value.
first it has to be store of value. It needs to be successful store of value. And when people accept it as a store of value, and a lot of people have, when the market cap is much higher than today, that's when people will start using it as a medium of exchange.
I bet that decimal shit stays around for way longer than you guys think it does.
it's
It's
going
hard
to
to
stay
get people
for.
to change.
Yeah, it will stay for a long time, but it will change. It's
So
natural.
we do agree that it does suck currently, though. Like paying
Of course.
decimals for shit.
Yeah.
sucks
Of course,
currently.
it messes up
So
people's
some people
minds.
fix that, like XRP fixed that. If you look at the top 10, most of the top 10 tokens are valued in billions of units, and it just works better. So Tether has billions of units, TRX has billions of units,
Bitcoin has that also. It's imaginary. You could just
Yeah,
say,
it has to be
Mini-
branded differently.
mini Bitcoin,
I
then
know,
we are
it is
already
possible to fix, but for some reason people just don't, they
They-
just
not
keep
yet.
doing whatever they're doing.
because we had $10,000.
We're
Once
just
the
too
price is-
impatient. Like Bitcoin doesn't have to be perfect in terms of being a medium exchange today, it will take time. Just like, I mean, of course, XRP might be easier to calculate, but like that's
This is the weakest thing you can prove. So let's just skip it. Like it's the very weakest thing, right? So what else could we do? We could add
Yeah, that was the weak argument.
So yeah, it is the weakest. Like we shouldn't spend time on it. So what about anonymity? Do you think you're going to get an anonymity fork rolled into Bitcoin?
Anonymity?
Yeah. Do you think you're going to get anonymous transactions rolled into Bitcoin?
I mean, with, for example, Mimblewimble, you could, if you just implement
Do you think
Mimblewimble,
you're
which
gonna
is
get-
possible technically.
Right.
Maybe we will get it. I mean, it is possible.
So do you remember?
Many people like Mimblewimble. It's the same narrative that like Bitcoin. No one like it was an anonymous white paper. It's a little bit mysterious. It is decentralized, so you could just implement the Mimblewimble
But
protocol.
you've got a hard fork to get it in. So here's my position.
No, for Mimblewimble you need a hard fork.
I think you do.
Yeah,
I
so
don't think you can soft fork.
not 100% sure about that.
If
don't
you can
think
soft
so.
fork it in, I retract my statement. If you have to hard fork it,
Yeah,
I
let's
don't
keep
think-
it like that.
Sure.
Everyone can
Yeah.
comment down below. Maybe you
Right.
know something.
Yeah, if Mimblewimble can be implemented as a soft fork, then there is a possibility we could do it. And by the way, even if it's a soft fork, we might not still get it, and I'll explain why. Do you remember how hard it was to get SegWit? It was nearly impossible. It was nearly impossible. It worked out, but we had to cheat. We had to say, hey, we're going to give you 2 megabyte blocks, just give us the SegWit. And then we got the SegWit. They said,
They
fuck
didn't
you.
get it.
We said, fuck you, we're not going to do the 2 megabyte blocks. So they're not going to fall for that shit again, right? And what was it? It was just an efficiency increase. It just allowed you to do 25% more transactions on the network. You can come in here if you want, man.
You guys still on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I gotta check the camera, make sure we didn't run over 30 minutes yet. Every 30 minutes I gotta hit recording.
1 minute.
Okay.
Sure. You can use whatever you want. You can make drinks.
Yeah,
you
I'll
can
just restart it now since I'm already here.
sure.
Hey guys, we're back. So funny, we got Ian Ballina with us.
Yes. Hello, everybody. Glad to be here.
So we should introduce everybody's channels.
It is a bit
Ian Ballina
It's
had
a bit late for
had a
that.
show called Diary of a Made Man.
yes.
And he went through and rated new tokens that were coming out. I think they were ICOs, and then talked about how much money he made and was very public about it. And then
Sometimes to a fault, yes.
yeah.
But still here.
Yeah.
But
And,
now working on something new.
what are you doing?
Token metrics.
Okay.
So it's kind of what I was doing with Diary of a Made Man.
Okay.
But now we're bringing everything to Altcoins trading on exchanges.
Okay.
So
You're trying to do what on exchanges?
So we're rating cryptocurrencies, the trading on exchanges.
Think about
Okay.
coin market
Right.
cap with very advanced
With actual ratings,
features.
right? So
Alright.
we're in the process of working towards becoming a USA compliant
Mm-hmm.
investment advisor
Okay.
for crypto.
Cool. You'll be in competition with China. China does cryptocurrency ratings too. Bitcoin ranks to C or D or something.
Yeah.
Literally.
So the-
Literally.
Well, we try to do
You're
what
like,
we were
what?
doing before.
Yeah, I know,
with
that's
the
right.
spreadsheet, by being transparent
Yeah.
and leveraging human expertise and also machine learning and data. Right?
I would buy in just because of the jacket. I really like the jacket. It's a really
And
nice
at least
jacket.
Bitcoin is highly rated.
Yes.
And
Yes.
on the Chinese, like they rated it as
Pro
a
Bitcoin
COD.
for sure.
Yeah.
What do you do?
I have a YouTube channel called CryptoJack.
Okay.
I basically go over different market analysis, some fundamentals about trading, and news about cryptocurrency as well.
All right.
Yeah, so I have the YouTube channel The Moon. I talk about the Bitcoin price. I talk mainly about only about Bitcoin. I don't talk about altcoins. Technical analysis, fundamental analysis, and news and macroeconomics, and basically anything that comes to mind when I hit record. Because no scripts, just basically I speak my mind, and that's what I do once every day, one video every day. On YouTube.
I do what he does, but I do it like once a month. I just don't care enough. Like,
But then
fuck
you do
guys,
a 4
stay
hours
stupid
video.
out there.
Then
I
you
do a 4 hour
hours
video.
video.
I did an 8 hours video once
Yeah.
straight. When China banned Bitcoin and we went down to 3,000, I was live streaming the whole fucking thing.
Oh.
So yeah, I'm Chris. I'm from MMcrypto. We are a big team, and we have also a YouTube channel, Telegram channels. You can just type in MMcrypto on YouTube or MMcrypto on Telegram. And we do a lot of Bitcoin content just like him. Additionally to that, sometimes we do some a little bit of content about altcoins and also macroeconomics. And we onboard some people from the crypto space like John McAfee.
I just did an interview with him a couple days ago.
Yeah, I mean, we did 1 month ago. We did
Yeah.
2 videos with this
Yeah.
guy, and yeah, like a lot of collaborations with a lot of people. DaVinci J15, if you know them. So just type in MMcrypto and you will find us.
So
we welcome you guys.
So we left off, we have to reset the camera 30 minutes because it's a real camera and whatever. we left off, I was trying to list things that, like, I made my own cryptocurrency to fix a lot of problems that Bitcoin has. Like, I got into Bitcoin because I was given something for free. I was mining it for free. I double-click an EXE, I got coins. And that got me in. That was my coupon. They gave me a couple coins as a coupon, and then I bought in heavy. And that's the way freemium games work. That's the way almost everything works. They get you to buy in with something small, and then they get you to buy in with something big. And Bitcoin doesn't have that anymore. There's no way that you can onboard easily with a video card. And so you see a lot of other currencies like RVN or Monero or other things you can mine with GPU, taking that freemium onboarding market of the computer enthusiast and then turning them into FOMO-ridden zealots. You know, I gotta buy more coins now because my computer's at home making a lot of loud noises. Mine, you know,
And heat.
yeah, and it works. It really onboards a lot of users. And to tell you what else onboards a lot of users is a referral program. And we do have them in crypto. However, it's mostly for places where people get kind of wrecked, right? So I promoted margin trading for a long time. And when you start surveying your users, you're like, all right, what percentage of you guys made money? I mean, so I made an anonymous post and I said, do you know someone that has made money in crypto? Yes. Or lost money in crypto? And then people chose, well, 75% lost, right? So if you can give people mad gains and onboard them with a referral program like a Ponzi scheme, but without the dumping part, without the like, oh look, now like everybody's selling because it's been made illegal or whatnot. These are very, very powerful, effective things that are working for a lot of things.
How do
in
you
crypto.
do that though, without the dumping part?
Well, the same way you do it in a startup and normal e-commerce or normal businesses, you use vesting periods. So in the real world, we have 3 popular products at a bank. We've got a savings account, we've got a checking account, and then we've got time deposits. And the longer you lock up your stuff, the more return on investment you get, the higher interest rate you get. About every extra year you lock, you get about 20% higher interest rate. And it's $7.2 trillion in the United States and China alone. It's multiple trillions outside that. No cryptocurrency is doing it, and Bitcoin can't do it. We do have time locking in Bitcoin, but the problem with time locking in Bitcoin is that you don't get any reward. You just get penalty. You just restrict yourself from being able to sell. So if you want to be able to reward people for other behaviors that are good, in Bitcoin we only reward more hash rate. That's the only thing we can game theoretically reward because that's the way the system's designed, and to change it is nearly impossible. It was very hard to get SegWit and to be like, yo, we're going to add a referral program now. It would just not work, right? But if you want to do referral programs and fix unit bias and have freemium onboarding and pay people to hold, you have to control the supply of the currency. So I just give this all free to Bitcoin holders. If you hold Bitcoin, you get this token for free. You claim earlier, you get more. If you claim later, you lose your stack. And then one day, if you come a year later and you're like, all right, I'm ready to claim. Sorry, bro, you missed it. Like, we gave all your coins away to the people that believed. You know, we're not going to let you come and dump on us. So, yeah, like I think there's a lot of things that can be fixed in Bitcoin, but fuck, it's hard. Like you just can't try and fix mining centralization. You can't. Mining will always be centralized in China because 1, they have the most affordable labor. 2, they have the most affordable electricity. 3, they have all the facilities that package the chips from Taiwan in there to create the mining machines. And 4, they have currency controls, which gives outsized return, extra profit to the miners there. Because when you've got local currency and you want to get rid of it and turn it into international currency and you're limited from doing so, you need someone local to hand it to. So you can't attack that extra margin that they have from being in that jurisdiction from outside the jurisdiction. You would have to be inside the jurisdiction to receive people's cash and get that extra bonus for circumventing their currency controls.
Okay, tell you what I think is the problem with altcoins. It is the endless inflation of new altcoins and the fact that, for sure, Bitcoin is not perfect. It is, in fact, far from being perfect, and it will probably not be perfect for many, many years. The problem with altcoins, though, even the altcoins that might perform better than Bitcoin in terms of fees or how fast it is to transact or whatever, anonymity over like there are so many things that many altcoins do much better than Bitcoin, but the problem is that there will always be another altcoin in the future that can do it even better than your altcoin, and then a few years down the line another altcoin that can do it even better because technology always develops. Just like is it Moore's law that says that computers double their computing the capacity every like year? Yeah.
2 years or so.
Yeah, I mean it's not an exact science, but it's
you don't get
basically
faster, you just get more. So Moore's law counts transistors, it's just transistor count.
Yeah, but like the general idea that technology always develops. So this endless inflation of altcoins and
right, but how okay, you can't make that statement and then just apply that to say altcoins suck because other altcoins inflate against that altcoin, if you're going to make that statement, then those same altcoins hurt Bitcoin. So if you're assuming there's a finite pool of money and that there's always a next newer best thing, then those next newer best things are hurting Bitcoin as bad as they're hurting altcoins. Do you see what I'm saying? There's no special status that Bitcoin has that makes it not an altcoin compared to other coins, right?
I get your point, but
I mean,
I think
Bitcoin
Bitcoin is
is
different.
the first mover and an altcoin is
Yeah.
an alternative coin. So it is the
No, but like
alternative to Bitcoin.
people
so-
have finite money to fill their bags with, period. And they can either choose to buy bag A or bag B. So if you're saying altcoins are fucked because new altcoins exist, okay, sure. But also Bitcoin's fucked the same.
No, because I get your point, but I do
Yeah.
believe that Bitcoin has something that can never be replicated. It is the fact that it was the first blockchain. It is the first.
First is not always last.
Dismiss this,
No,
yeah, but like,
rarely.
But do you know the Metcalfe's law?
Yes.
The network effects?
Yes.
Yeah.
And you have not only the first movers advantage, you
Yeah.
also have the mainstream media being incentivized to talk about Bitcoin
Mhm.
first, Bitcoin.
Yeah.
You have the brain juices of, like, I don't know, 15,000 developers flowing into Bitcoin, the security, the hash rate, like all the people already having it
Yeah.
adopted and being more incentivized to accept Bitcoin first towards other altcoins. Like all these things are just working towards each other.
I think it's got regulatory advantage. I think it's got liquidity advantage. I think it's got some reduced volatility advantage. But look, the problem with being a realist is I can sell you the other side just as well. Dogecoin went down 95%. Bitcoin went down 85%. That's the difference between a joke coin and the blue chip.
No, but look from the downside. You are calculating from the upside.
I know,
It's
I know
5%,
that 10% is
5% or
really-
15%.
Yes.
That's like a 200%.
Right. What he's trying to explain to you is that really it's doubling when you get down there. So you did twice as good staying
Triple
in
the
Bitcoin.
money still.
Right. So
Triple
you
the
did
money.
you did much that it seems like only 10%. Yes, I'm using a framing
Yeah.
logic. So he identified the framing trick that I was using.
Yes,
there.
I did.
Yeah.
I mean,
Good
I
one.
feel like that's true,
Got me.
right? But Bitcoin is not invincible, right? I mean, Bitcoin is king, right? Don't get me wrong. This is coming from the former altcoin king guy, right? But Bitcoin is not invincible, right? That happens in any technology. There's always something that happens. But to innovate, to displace Bitcoin, you have to be almost 10 times as good. And right now, there's no cryptocurrency that's 10 times as good as Bitcoin,
Well,
right? But 20 years from now, that could happen.
see, for the people in China that
It will be
buy,
so hard to catch up in 20 years.
For the-
So hard with all
But
the
it's not
action
impossible.
No,
it's
no,
it's-
100%.
It would be.
sorry. Yes.
I think it would be actually very easy to displace Bitcoin because the user count is so low. Truthfully, the user count in Bitcoin is 2.8 million wallets that hold over $1,000 US. Period, and it's less than that because most people have more than one fucking wallet, right? Most people have more than one address. I'm not even counting wallets. I'm counting addresses, which means we've got maybe 1.5 million people that actually have $1,000 of fucking Bitcoin. That's it. That's nothing. The
We
class-
can do a 10 years bet if you want on camera. That would be nice. I would just bet
I
on
don't know.
Bitcoin
If
and
you
you
see
bet
my
on
body, I
someone.
might not be alive in 10 years, bro. I'll be-
No, you will. Dude, you have at least like 50 years.
I thought you said 50.
I'm saying,
I know.
I'm saying that so first of all, this is good news for Bitcoin. The penetration rate is so low that with absolutely no adoption at all, and no anonymity, and like near impossible to use, we still have insane as fuck price. Imagine if we get more adoption, right? That's good for the price.
Yeah.
That's not bad for the price. I'm just saying that for those people that bought the Plus token pods in China, they truly believed that whatever that shit was that they were buying was 10 times better than Bitcoin because they probably never even they bought Bitcoin and then immediately handed it to the Ponzi schemers for the better thing. So from their perspective, and those were they onboarded more new users than Bitcoin does. If you go into a Bitcoin chat room, it is motherfucking dead. No one's memeing, no one's talking. I'm talking about Bitcoin,
Bitcoin
and that's
talk,
about it.
though.
Like there ain't many people talking about Bitcoin. Truthfully, my Telegram chat room's got 4,200 people in it talking about crypto. We've never done an advertisement. We've never spent $1 on marketing. Not a single
No,
fucking
we
one.
also we have 11,500 and
Nice.
we never spent
Yeah.
1 cent.
Now go into the Bitcoin core chat room, which I did for a giggle. I went to Telegram and I typed fucking Bitcoin. I'm like, all right, what pulls up? Okay, Bitcoin core had like 30,000 members. I'm like, oh,
They
that's
are
pretty
not
good.
working with the YouTube algorithm.
I fucking
You
clicked
know?
it, and
That's
there
the
was
difference.
It's
one
super
post a day from the
decentralized, so you
admin.
can't do that.
There's just no one talking. So I'm just saying, look, crypto's
That's
amazing. The price is going to pump, but my personal business that I founded at 150 employees, we had hundreds of thousands of customers, and average ticket sale of 200, and like fucking. It's really easy when you have a marketing budget
That's the
to
best
bring new
argument
users.
for Bitcoin because what you are saying, like the core developer chat, no one talks about Bitcoin, but in our chats, we have, like you have a chat, he has a chat, I have a chat, like we have a chat, and it's decentralized chats, like everyone can just choose and they go into our groups and there they talk
But
about
imagine
Bitcoin.
if you had a marketing budget. Imagine if you funded a currency.
But
This
then
is
you
not
have-
me,
That's
not me.
centralization.
Yeah, can I
Someone
just-
has to
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
this is
if
actually
you-
a problem. The altcoins, you can never also like replicate the decentralization of Bitcoin. There's always a phase.
But you're
Like-
only looking at the downside. There's upside decentralization.
For sure, yes.
Massive upside.
Yes. I'm not going to say anything against that. But there's like one problem. For example, let's say your project is called HEX, right?
Yeah.
So like, what's stopping you from 10 years down the line saying, okay, no, I'm going to create HEX 2. I'm going to stop with HEX and I quit all the marketing. Why should people hold that? They will just migrate to HEX 2 and the value of HEX is probably going to fall, right?
The
That
trick.
centralization and the risk of that happening is something that is a risk in all the altcoins because there is a phase, there's like a team, you're dependent on other
I mean, there
people's
was a risk
work.
with the Bitcoin forks. Bitcoin Cash was a risk,
Like-
even for the BTC Maximals.
Yeah, but now we see that these forks are basically worthless and it's just something that anyone can
And
do.
Bitcoin Cash was already
But
the
it's-
most
it's still
powerful
a risk,
one
though.
because you had like Jianwu, Roger Ver, which migrated so much mining power and marketing efforts over to Bitcoin Cash.
So we're talking. So we have two types of risk, right? We have upside risk and downside risk. Here's the downside. So first of all, if you want to know that a whale isn't going to dump on you, the only way that you will trust that he won't is if he locks his fucking coins. So I invented the only thing to solve what you're talking about. If you don't want whales dumping on you, then use the currency that you can look at the whale and look at his time lock and be like, oh, he can't dump, right? So I solved that problem, and I do agree it is a problem. We don't like when people fucking dump on us,
Or you
right?
can always sell OTC, right?
No, because you'd have to prove that you didn't keep your copy of the key, and you can't prove that you deleted it, so you can't trade. Someone have to make an open dime device. If someone made an open dime device, then you could trade locked coins, but since it doesn't exist, even for Ethereum, it'll probably be several years before it exists for my thing. We made it so that you can't trade the locked coins. I could have made it so you could trade the locked coins, but then it wouldn't drive up the price of the unlocked coins, which is what we're trying to do. If you want to be able to trade, you need to not lock them, right? If you lock them, you can't trade them, unless someone invents an open dime.
I mean, how about like derivatives?
What do you mean?
Like somebody can trade like a contract with the option to kind of like options.
Sure, yeah, but it's just counterparty risk, right? So you can layer on whatever other counterparties you want, and if you trust them, you can do, it's Turing complete. You could do anything you could dream, but you do introduce trust risk, right? And in crypto, every exchange gets hacked, period. Every exchange gets hacked. It's just a matter of time, right? So, there's a reason that these insurance companies, so for instance, Bakkt launched, and they're only insured for like 120 million total. So people are like, yo,
120
that
mil?
120 million total.
That's nothing.
It's nothing. And so people are like, yo, that $1 billion Bitcoin address is now number 5, right? There's a number 5 Bitcoin address that has like 95,000 coins in it. People are like, oh, that's probably backed. Nope, they're only insured for 120 million. There's a 0% chance that's backed. And then Bakkt launched and did like 5 Bitcoin of volume. It's like, oh,
Right
shit.
now it's already
increasing,
like 10
yeah.
million per
It
day
is,
or
it's
something.
Right, the 10 million per day is also a joke.
It's a
People
joke
that,
right
like,
now, but yeah.
BitMEX
Yeah,
does
right
like
now.
billion a day.
It's
Right now.
growing like crazy.
Exactly
It's
right
getting
now.
better. It's getting better.
Look, I hope it keeps going up. I have a bag of Bitcoin. I hope that it fucking goes up.
I don't think, I think Bakkt is probably going to be a very valuable thing for Bitcoin, but I don't think,
Bro,
because
Not right now.
people are over exaggerating
No.
the importance of Bakkt in this exact moment.
Bro,
I mean,
Yes.
Okay, hey, you know what? A store that sells Ferraris just opened in your neighborhood. So now you're gonna go buy a Ferrari? Just because the store opened in your neighborhood don't mean you're fucking buying.
exactly.
Right? Oh, you got to
The
list it on
opportunity is
exchange.
there, and when the demand comes,
Yeah.
the gate.
But
when it's
imagine the
open.
first Ferrari store open somewhere.
Yeah.
Like that would be an impact.
But
and Bitback is
Who
like
can't
the
buy
first.
Bitcoin? You could buy it fucking
Yeah, I mean,
anywhere.
we're talking about like insurance funds and this kind of stuff.
Institutions.
Yeah.
But they could onboard through
They could.
the Winklevoss twins Gemini bullshit.
I know, and
We
and
all
you are
know
right.
that-
We saw like
Yeah.
no one cared about it.
Yeah,
but
we
like
know
after
that
time, now
it's
more and
easy,
more people buy.
but for the institutional investors, there's so many like hinders.
Regulation, compliance, being able to short.
Yeah, and like for the mind, it seems like a huge problem, even though we know that practically it's actually not that hard. But
I want to go back to the issue of the downside and upside risk of a thing. So when Bitcoin Cash took the brand and advertised Bitcoin Cash as real Bitcoin, if Bitcoin was a company and had some centralization, they could file a fucking lawsuit for brand dilution. But,
Yeah, but-
since Bitcoin's MIT licensed, no one had the balls to file a fucking lawsuit and be like, yo, you're diluting our brand and lying to people. And that's not legit.
The long run will wash it out and will show the truth. Like
But why
it is
wait?
already doing it right
Try
now.
that shit with XRP. Try making fucking XRP cash and watch how fast your shit gets sued. Right?
Yeah, but
There's
It
an upside
just
to
takes
that.
much longer time, but in the end, the decentralization and the network effects, they win. So we can see that already how much reputation Jihan Wu or Roger Ver already lost.
I hope none.
Yeah,
I hope
honestly,
they have none left. I hope they have lost it all.
Yeah, but you know what? Kind of, I welcome these scammy forks in a way because it just shows us how easy it is to just make a fork,
Right.
and that just further confirms the worthlessness of the previous forks and all the future forks.
See, that sounds like a cool story, but that's just still a $1 billion project, right? And it's easy to make fun of alts, but motherfuckers that bought alts that weren't on the top 10, and now they're on the top 10, they got better ROI than Bitcoin holders. Like, if you have an alt that was fuck all nowhere, let's call it Chainlink or whatever,
Yeah,
right?
but the ROI is not really important for like.
Also, like, try to calculate the chance of hitting one of these 10. I think it's 10 to 10,000.
Well, apparently, if you're on 4chan and you just buy whatever they like, you do pretty fucking good. I mean, I think most people, the ROI is the only thing I care about. That's actually the only thing I care about, because everything else works good. I can buy shit with normal ass green US dollars. What I need is amazing fucking ROI, and the US currency works fine for me, right? And
Right now.
so, yeah.
Yeah.
So, centralization. If you give me a marketing budget, watch what I can do with advertisements, right? If I gave you a marketing budget, watch what you could do with advertisements. In this world, if you want to have mass impact and scale, you've either got to get really lucky like WhatsApp did and have something that's so fucking viral that people can't help but shove it down their friends' throats, or you got to buy fucking advertisements. And when you have a truly decentralized system, financially, economically, you don't get ads. If we still had a truly decentralized mining ecosystem, but a centralized party that owned a big enough bag of Bitcoin that there was some economic centralization, you would still have totally useful, functional censorship resistance through the miners, and have a motherfucker with a bag big enough that you could pay $20 to onboard a new user because he makes 30, right? And right now, the only people that can do that are exchanges. And all they do is destroy the motherfuckers. Well, I mean, I'm not going to get agreement on this one, but if you send people to an exchange, they're going to get chewed up and eventually run out of money when they can't cycle their fucking balance anymore. It's just like a sports book. What's a sports book do? They give you a bonus. Why do they give you a bonus? You got to roll the money over so many times. Why? Because it multiplies the house advantage against you. And that's what leverage does. It's a rollover, right? You only got a bag of $1. Okay, well, we're going to let you trade $100. Okay, now you just gave us your money 100 times quicker. Go get a job and work harder so you can get more money to us. I think if you want to make Bitcoin big, you need a fucking marketing budget. And true decentralization at the economic level makes it so that no one can be cash positive onboarding a new user. I can't make $10 onboarding a user with $5 of money. I just can't do it.
But how about the argument that Bitcoin already in 10 years already had like the whole time autonomous marketing, and in the future it's like
The marketing's been terrible.
the what?
The marketing's been terrible. We
mar-
have
no,
one
but it's
Bitcoin
like-
bull.
It is like it's working since 10 years. More and more
It's
people
not- but
year
it's
on
not
year.
working.
I'm
You've only got 6
it's
million
always
users.
not
You've
working.
only got 6 million
But
users.
that's
The
10
whole
years.
world knows about Bitcoin already.
Every other startup in 10
Everyone on the world already heard the word Bitcoin.
Right, but
once.
whether they know about it's irrelevant. It's whether they buy a bag of that shit and hold it. That's what we need.
Yeah, but that's what we will get
Look
in the long run.
look at digital onboarding. If you were a fucking startup in Silicon Valley and you said, yo, we're 10 years old, we've got 2 million users, they'd laugh and they'd lock the door and they'd tell you to fuck off. Because you, as a digital product with digital delivery, you don't need a storefront. It's all, like you said, people even marketing for free and all that shit. How the fuck can you only have so few users? It's
But can we-
extremely few users.
Can we just agree on the fact that Bitcoin, the purpose of Bitcoin is to be money, right?
Originally, but it's not now.
Yeah, but that's the idea of Bitcoin, to be money. And if we just compare with gold, for example, gold didn't just instantly become people's money. It grew. There's so many stages
So
and
it was
thousands of
backwards.
years.
So earlier you said this, I want to address it, but I didn't. You said that something needs to be a store of value and then gets adoption. In the real world, it's been actually backwards. The reason that gold got adoption as a store of value was because it had utility before. So almost everything that has become a currency had utility before it became a currency, usually. So
Some form of demand.
almost nothing just started as a store of value and then became
Of
useful.
course. Yeah, I know. Yes, there are stages before.
No.
There's some utility or some kind of demand because of its shininess or whatever,
So-
and it has to be collectible. Yes, and then it can become a store of value. There are, yes, but
So-
like
so-
the general idea of being a store of value, I think that needs to happen for a money to eventually become a medium of exchange, because you cannot just start using XRP as a medium of exchange because
I'm
the
not here selling
volatility.
XRP.
Yeah,
Like,
but like,
you ain't got to worry about that.
yeah, but any altcoin, any like
But they all work. People that use Dogecoin, it works. People that use BCH, it works.
No,
People that use ETH,
the
it works.
liquidity is just so low.
But you don't need much liquidity. Most people are broke. Most people don't need much liquidity.
Also,
There's
the
so much
security
volatility.
is extremely low.
Most people aren't getting hacked. This shit actually works
I'm
pretty
talking
good.
about the security of, for example, a 51% attack. On Bitcoin,
Almost
cash
never
towards
happens.
Bitcoin, it's so
Right, but it almost never
freaking
happens.
cheap.
It is very cheap, so go do one. But no one ever does it. So look, Dogecoin is a fork of Bitcoin. Zcash is a fork of Bitcoin. Bitcoin Cash is a fork of Bitcoin. Bitcoin SV, all this shit's forks of Bitcoin. It all works pretty good. It all does work pretty good. And we have mostly empty blockchains. What we have is a demand problem. We don't have a supply side problem, right? You can do as many free transactions as you want on EOS. You could make your own fucking fork and turn on your GPU and do a whole blockchain worth of fucking transactions.
That's true, but the demand is already driven by the network effects and what's happening already with the flawed monetary system.
Right, but it's never
Look
fair
at
for buying.
Venezuela. There you are getting utility, and in Iran you are getting utility
For
Bitcoin.
Monero.
No, for Bitcoin.
But it should be Monero.
Because
They come and break your fucking door down and tear
But-
your miners out.
When you say it should be, but it's not. Like
Yeah.
you have to ask yourself the question why it's not, and then
Right,
we are
but-
talking again about the
But
first.
I want to
advantage.
build something better, and I can't just be like, yo, it's good enough. I want to build something better, right? I want to onboard millions of fucking users. Those Ponzi schemes are onboarding millions of fucking users with fucking advertisements. They're doing that, stealing all those people's money
It's
with a
all
Bitcoin
short
sales
term.
pitch.
Yeah, that's
all
not a
short
long
term.
term.
No, but those customers could have bought a real crypto. Those million people fell for the sales pitch. We have mad gains in crypto.
But
Just
these
get the
guys
real
are
mad gains.
also short term. Like everyone who was involved and everything is short term.
I don't really see how this is an argument against Bitcoin, because, like you were saying, yeah, the utility of Bitcoin is the fact that it is working as a store of value. It has only gone up in value generally for the past 10 years. And it is, I mean,
I'm not saying Bitcoin sucks. I'm saying we can do better. Bitcoin's great.
but I don't know.
It's a good starting point.
So here's another point, right? You guys talk. So let's talk about. Let's say we got Clash of Clans video games, got 100 million users a day. Let's say we want to put Clash of Clans economy on Bitcoin. What happens? Bitcoin network fails. Why? Because Bitcoin network can do about 7 transactions per second.
But
Total.
what if you put it on a sidechain?
Then
This
it also
is
does
all-
only.
this
It
is
also
only
only does
verify
7
the
transactions
inbounds
a
and
second.
outbounds.
It's still only 7 transactions a second.
No, but not on the sidechain. You only do the inbounds and outbounds, the important transactions when you're going out of this main chain and into the main chain. And on the sidechain, you can
No,
just
but on
like,
the
do like
side
infinite
chain is
stuff.
limited to the same as the original chain. It doesn't give you
Only
extra
by
chain.
going
No.
in and out, but on top of the sidechain, you can do unlimited transactions.
Yeah,
like
with second layers,
they're crazy.
exactly how.
So you're talking about Lightning Network as a sidechain? Do you
One
mean?
example, but
I
it's
think
not
it's
smart
something like
contracts.
RSK,
It's,
Woodstock.
you
Right,
can't
but
do
that,
smart
so
contracts.
if
on
you
it.
do, you can. It's a fork of Ethereum basically. If you make a sidechain that has identical security properties to the main chain, then you are limited to the same throughput of the thing that you forked. You're just making a copy and then tying back once in a while, right?
Yeah, but-
You can do you can do high throughput if you do a Lightning style thing, right? So let's talk about that because that's where I wanted to go anyway.
Yeah, but you can do thousands of transactions that can be calculated, like
It's only the
summed up into
settlement
one.
which is seven
Yes,
yes,
transactions.
the final
Yes, you're talking
settlement.
about Lightning, but Lightning is not a sidechain. It's different. As soon as you use the word chain, you get slow. The chaining is what makes slow. The Lightning network doesn't actually need a chain, so it's not actually slow, but it has a reduced security model. If Lightning works out for Bitcoin, do you know what else it will work out for? Every other coin. Because we all use the same signature system. We all use BIP39 addressing.
Yeah, and that's actually an argument for Bitcoin, because in that case, why not just use it on Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin is
Because there's no DeFi, because DeFi is all up in Ethereum's ass. Like you can, if you want to use a stablecoin in Bitcoin, you need a centralized counterparty with a bank account. If you want to use a fucking stablecoin in Ethereum, there's a distributed peer-to-peer one that works. Like, so do you want the one with a bank account where the bank account can turn it off? Like even if whoever runs the stablecoin is an honest actor, the bank could be just like, yo man, fuck you. Like the government said no, so sorry, you can't have the money. But with DAI, you can't do that, right? It's a lot harder, at least. So DeFi is huge, man. Like, there's a reason every coin that's launched on Bitcoin has failed. Omni, they used to do Tether transactions through Omni on Bitcoin. They stopped and they moved all those coins over to Ethereum because it works better.
That's true.
The only
Kraken
people
is still
really-
using Omni.
Who is
Kraken.
Kraken? Yeah, the people that are actually using Bitcoin are the fucking stablecoin guys. That's most of the transactions. I think 50% of transactions on Ethereum right now, 30 to 50% are just Tether transactions, as ERC20 transactions. You used to be able to do the show on Bitcoin with Omni or Counterparty, like Pepe Cash lost up Counterparty, and those tokens just all died. They all went to fucking zero. but the Ethereum ones are doing okay.
We have to go to the after party.
Let's do it. Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What, I mean, I hope you guys got something good out of this. I'll post it.
This is
And put it in the comments down below. Bitcoin or altcoins? What's your opinion? Bitcoin, altcoins, or HEX? Because we are on your channel.
Thank you. Thank
no,
you.
no.
Thanks, guys. Buy Bitcoin.
to the moon and
Bye,
beyond.
Bitcoin.